One for PlayStation. The game's just called One. One man, one solution, one state of mind. Flip, climb, hang, slide, blast, and fight through 5 multi-level 3D worlds. Rage up with unique rage meter. Right. Powerful assault weapons. Vicious physical attack combos. Live or die by your state of rage. One was released in 98, I think, here in PAL. 97 probably overseas, but either way. Yeah, it was a late game. I always thought this was a lot earlier. So it must have gone up against Apocalypse, because that was a very similar sort of game where it was well, that one was actually twin stick. This is not. This is more like a 2D shoot 'em up, like a platformer style, but it's in a 3D realm. Is that how you explain that? I don't even think so. But either way, look at the footage, you get the idea. It looks 3D, but it doesn't always play 3D. I don't think that makes sense out loud. Anyway. You know, I think it looks pretty decent. It's not the greatest thing that the PlayStation 1 ever pushed out, but it's clean. Actually, maybe that's why I thought it was older, because it's not even 98. I still think it looks pretty good. A lot of stuff going on screen, a lot of explosions. In fact, maybe too many, because I had trouble seeing the platforms and whatnot. But yeah, it's nice looking, it's colourful, it ran well. This whole beginning section was playing like the beginning of some sort of over-the-top action movie. I guess that's the setup. Let's make it look fancy and lots of explosions and lasers and flashy colours. It looks okay. Let's just go with okay. So this game sounds great. At least for a PlayStation 1 game. There's a lot going on here. Maybe too much. But seeing as like the type of game that it is in the setup of like the whole action movie, shoot everything, everything blows up, I mean it makes sense. There's a lot of explosions going on, gunfire, laser noises. There's some pretty decent voice acting like going on from the enemies, and I guess it's radio or something they're listening into. Although when you get a 1-up, there's a really generic robot lady voice, which was really odd, doesn't fit in anywhere. The sound's quite good, I'm impressed. It's almost Waller sound, like maybe when I say there's too much going on, but it fits. I just think it fits what this is. It's just dumb, stupid action fun, right? So yeah. Come on, it's lasers. Who doesn't like a laser sound effect? Yeah, there's a few little subtle sound effects, like I think it was sparks coming out of the lights. I could even hear that over the top of a plane flying around while firing machine guns and launching missiles at me that are exploding. Oh god, there is really a lot going on. Still liked it. I thought it worked well. So, good for you, game. You sound great. The controls are pretty tight. A lot tighter than I expected them to actually be. Though I did remember you can't use the second analog stick to really aim. So you're kind of stuck shooting 360 based on whatever direction you're going. But I mean, when you're in an action sequence, like an over-the-shoulder sort of camera, it worked well. It was controllable. I wasn't really struggling with fighting anybody. The platforming scenes were pretty much what you'd expect them to be. It's PlayStation 1 days, like clipping, man. Clipping was just, there was no real way around it back then unless you were just like probably the world's greatest programmer, so it felt like cheap deaths. I mean, that's not really the controls' fault, that's more limitation of the hardware, or is it a coding thing? I don't know, and I'm never going to know because I'm not going to bother looking up or find out, but I thought it played very well. I worked out the buttons pretty quickly, it actually never told me anything, so yeah, controls well. Quite playable, didn't really struggle with the buttons, worked them out pretty quickly, and yeah, serviceable. No, it was better than serviceable. I thought the control was good. For a first level, I liked it. It basically started me off in a fairly open linear path that gave me enough time to get to grips with the actual movement. You had time to push the buttons and work out what did what. I mean, it was pretty straightforward, and then all of a sudden there was an explosion and you could see the path is falling down, so jump. Pretty much tutorial stuff, without, you know, on-screen prompts and arrows and things like that, or some sort of voiceover or a dialogue box telling you what to actually do. I felt that it was straightforward in what had to happen. Good design, that's what it seems like to me, good design. I mean, the long path, that was surprisingly long, but I think that was to build tension, I guess, because the ship thing was shooting me and stuff was blowing up. Then you sort of went through an S-bend and the camera changes, and the next thing you know you're into like a shooting sequence and the camera changes and stuff's blowing up and people are dropping in, and then you realise that as you're holding down fire, it gets more intense and more intense and more intense, and I'm assuming that's now what the rage part of this game was, but I learnt that just naturally through playing the game without having to be told, although I kinda was being told, because I don't have a choice, do I, that's what you have to have happen. It was good. Then there was the part where you have to jump up a bunch of platforms while their ship spins in the middle of the screen. And let's be honest, platforming sections like that are typically pretty crappy in the early days of 3D. This one was pretty crappy. I died so many times, then I realised that every time it was reloading the checkpoint, there was a free life sitting there. Same life every time. That to me struck me as they expect you to die a whole bunch here, and so you weren't actually losing a life, because as soon as you were getting it back. Don't really know what to make of that, but I guess doesn't seem like a design thing. Maybe it's they just couldn't get the platforming any better, so every time you died they sort of gave your life back. Could be wrong. What do I know? I'm just some moron on the internet. By the time I got up to the top, which let's just cut through most of this footage because, let's be honest, I died a lot of times here on the exact same sequence. Anyway, top of the thing, you had to then eventually fight the ship, and thought it was pretty marked out what you had to do, straightforward. I thought for the first level, this was laid out pretty well. I got hooked with the game, it did what it had to do. For level 1, I thought it was pretty damn good. Would I recommend this? Yeah, hell yeah, it was great. I'm actually going to keep playing it and try and finish it again. It's good. I'd give it a 1 out of 1. Get it? Because it's funny. Ah.